Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Rotoworld Fantasy Basketball Q&A. I'm Raphielle Johnson, joined as always by Noah Rubin. Noah, how you doing on this Halloween Friday?
Raph, I'm doing well, and makes Halloween a little bit better when there's a lot of basketball to be played that we can keep an eye out on. It's a Friday night, so not any NFL games to compete with,
Yeah.
no college football, or maybe there are still college football games to compete with, but not some of the bigger ones. It's an NBA-focused night, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, first night of the NBA Cup, too.
Yes.
Good play starts. Something I found out last night that I found to be unbelievable is that for the first time in franchise history, the San Antonio Spurs are 5-0. Like,
Really?
yeah, that shocked me too. You think about some of the great teams they've had. For this to be the first one to go 5-0, it didn't sound right, but the team actually put it out too. So, yeah.
There's also the first 5-game win streak by the team in I forgot exactly
Yeah,
how long, but
2019.
okay, yeah, so that's really cool too.
Yeah. All right. So we've got some questions in the queue already, so let's not delay any further. Thanks, Ryan, for tuning in again. He's got a question for us. Cooper Flagg and DeAndre Ayton or Jimmy Butler and Colin Sexton, 12-team ESPN points, weekly games cap.
Oof. I know Colin Sexton just got pushed back to the bench. I don't know if that means he's definitely going to stay there, but he was off the bench in their last game. But I still think I'd prefer the Jimmy Butler, Colin Sexton package right now. I just don't necessarily trust DeAndre Ayton all that much, and Cooper Flagg has been pretty rough to start. So, yeah, I think you'd be getting pretty good value based on how well Jimmy Butler's been or playing. Yeah, I think I'd lean towards that package, but obviously the upside of Cooper Flagg is still there, which I don't think is necessarily an unfair trade.
Yeah, I think this is pretty close as well. The Ayton factor, you've got Luka coming back eventually, also LeBron James that you have to factor in. And we've seen his motor kind of fluctuate throughout the course of his career. So Colin Sexton can be a bit tricky, but he's the type of player who, while he's going to put up numbers, he's probably not going to impact Charlotte's winning or lack thereof. If anything, probably be more of a negative in terms of winning games, to be honest with you. You saw Sion James make his first start last night, more of a defender than anything. I think I would lean Butler and Sexton because I think Sexton's still going to get you 18, 19 points a night off the bench. But, of course, you don't have to worry about whether or not Charlotte wins or loses games. That's a Charles Lee problem. So I'd probably lean Butler and Sexton slightly in this scenario. And he's got another question. Okay. He traded his Ryan Kalkbrenner for Shaden Sharp. Obviously, it's probably Kalkbrenner's got the edge right now, I would say. How confident are you that Sharp will turn it around?
I mean, I'm pretty confident it's going to be better than what it has been, unless I'm missing his most recent game. So in his most recent game, it was a little bit better. He got over 40% shooting in a game, which was a nice step in the right direction. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to be better than what he has been. It still may not reach the expectations that maybe some of us had preseason, but it's going to be better than what it has been.
Yeah, he's shooting incredibly poorly right now, 32.6% from the field. He's a career 44% shooter, so you have to assume that would improve in time, But I think if anything, my question would be, even with the last game, he didn't have any steals or block shots or assists. He's still averaging 1.6 steals per game this year, so you can get some value there still. The assists are where you're a bit concerned, but that's not really his job in that system. So I think he will be able to turn it around. It's just that I don't think he's going to be someone who's going to be like a top 75 player this season necessarily, but I think he can still give you decent value there. All right. Evelyn, thanks for tuning in. She wants us to pick 3 from this group: Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Colin Gillespie, Cason Wallace, Con Knipple, and Jeremiah Fears.
Pretty easily Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Con Knipple for me. And then I think I'd probably go Cason Wallace with the last one. Fears getting the start was great, and I think he'll get a lot of opportunities this year. I just think it's going to be pretty frustrating. And with Colin Gillespie, me just double check this. Yeah, the last 2 games have been good, and I was really focusing on that 13 assist game. But Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks have been out. I think Jalen Green should be somewhat close to return. I don't know if there's been too
they
much
ruled him
clarity
out
on that.
again for tonight.
Okay.
So I think he may have suffered a setback, if anything. Nothing severe, but it's going to take him a little while just because you think back, there was originally reported that he could be back during their road trip that ended in Utah the other night. Missed that game, and he's out tonight. And I saw some reports about a potential setback. So, yeah, that gives a little more room for Gillespie to offer value now, but I don't really like his long-term value.
Right.
So I think I would agree with you with your 3 picks. My only question would be Fears versus Case and Wallace. Case and Wallace, we've seen him provide really good value even if he comes off the bench. So that certainly isn't up for question, but I wonder if New Orleans is going to get to a point where they kind of just go all in with these young guys because, I mean, the way they got beat in Denver the other night, you can't really convince me that this is a group that's not too far away from being a play-in team. Like, I don't think they're very good. Willie Green, we'll see what happens with him if they let him finish out, work the entire season, But that's one of those situations where I think Fears could be one who gets people really good value after the trade deadline, especially if the Pelicans have to be sellers to a certain extent.
Yeah, and Fears was much better in their last start than he was in his first start, which I think this is kind of what it's going to be this year. Is we're going to see these high highs, these flashes of, hey, this guy's going to be really, really good. I really like him as a prospect, but we're also going to get, hey, he's also 19 years old. Yeah, 19 years old, just turned 19, and trying to play point guard in the NBA. Like, there's going to be issues. The next few games are the Clippers and the Thunder. That's what they have this weekend. So those are probably not going to be great. So it's going to be a lot of up and down.
Yeah. Interesting. He's only 1 for 9 from 3 through 4 games. So not so much that he's not making them, but he's not really taking them. So I think that would be something to keep an eye on moving forward in terms of his rest of season value. All right. KK has an ESPN Points League question. Can you rank Amen Thompson, Scotty Barnes, and Paolo Banchero for the rest of the season? He's got Amen, but was offered Paolo and Scotty.
I feel like Paolo should be first in a points league. But if it's ESPN, it's just their standard scoring, then they're accounting at least somewhat for missed shots, which isn't great. Gosh, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, all of them are obviously really good. I don't know. Do you have a strong opinion on this?
Not particularly, especially in a points league. I think Paolo would be my first pick there, and then Scotty Barnes and Amen Thompson. But you can probably put these guys in a jar, shake them up, and come up with whatever. But yeah, I think I would go Paolo. I'd lean Paolo first, but
yeah. I'd lean with. I agree with that. Yeah, it's close, but I think if you have Amen, maybe I would actually be fine with either of those and just prefer Paolo.
Yeah,
I think just Amen in a points league is still going to be really, really good, but the other two just feel a little bit safer, even if Paolo's going to have some shooting struggles from time to time. I think he'll be fine as the season progresses, though.
All right. Jiggy's got a question. 20-team head-to-head 9-cat. Drop 1 for rest of the season value. Kevin Porter Jr., Brandon Podziemski, Josh Minot, and Zach Edey.
It's pretty easily Kevin Porter Jr. for me, and I'm not saying that everyone would agree with that, but and Pods might be second in line. And Pods is a player that I've been pretty high on, but I'm very confident that Zach Edey is going to be really, really good when he gets healthy. And maybe that's a scenario where you can just stick him in an IL spot. But I'm sure if that was an option, you probably wouldn't be asking this question at this point. But the Grizzlies I saw a chart earlier that was like comparing pick and roll rates from last year to this year. And the Grizzlies have been running way, way more pick and rolls, which was kind of an emphasis and the whole thing. But behind Taylor Jenkins not sticking around. So I think it's going to be a lot of easy buckets for Zach Edey. He's going to be really, really good. Josh Minot has been starting the last couple games with the Celtics. I think he's got incredibly high upside. I wouldn't drop him at this point. Pods' inconsistency in the starting lineup is probably the only reason it's a little bit of a, maybe between him and Kevin Porter Jr. for me, now that I'm being a little, thinking about it a little bit more. But I just think Ryan Rollins being there, it really limits Kevin Porter. And I'm not quite as confident in him. So it's definitely between those two. But I'd lean towards keeping Pods. Because even Quentin Post started last night and he played 10 minutes, and then Pods still played a lot. So maybe it doesn't matter whether he starts or not. He's playing starters minutes.
Yeah. Are we really sold on Josh Minot? You look at his minutes. He played 14 minutes in the opener, didn't play against the Knicks, 14 against the Pistons. Then he's thrust into the starting lineup against the Pelicans and Cavaliers. Played well in both of those games, don't get me wrong. But I just feel with there's so many unproven front court players in Boston, him included, I wonder if his playing time could fluctuate a bit more than we kind of anticipate throughout the season. So that'll be my question with him. Kevin Porter Jr., I still think he'll play good minutes, but they gave Ryan Rollins that contract, not the most lucrative contract, but they're thoroughly invested in him. And he's on a heater right now. So I kind of feel like they're going to want to see what they have in him as long as they can. So I think I would go Minot, drop him first, and then Porter. Then Podziemski and Edey I'd like to hold on to. As you know, with Podziemski, he's still playing close to starters minutes. And Edey's going to be a starter once he gets healthy too. So it would probably be Minot for me in terms of when I would drop, even though he has played well these last few games. All right. Chiggy has another question. We already talked about Jeremiah Fears, but he wants to know if we would drop Colin Gillespie or AJ Green to pick him up.
I'd prefer to drop Gillespie, and I know he's playing really well, but AJ Green, especially with his just ability to space the floor, he's going to be starting. He has to start. So his role is a lot more secure than Gillespie's is. So I'd probably drop Gillespie for Fears. I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. All right, Chad is tuned in. Cam Whitmore scuffling. Would Marvin Bagley be worth a speculative add if he nudges ahead of Whitmore in the rotation?
Not really too interested in rostering Marvin Bagley in 2025. Just
you don't want money, Marv?
Raph, you got it. He can be
I'm just playing. I'm fine with leaving both of them to someone else. So that would...
with both of them, yes, I agree. I'm not really interested in rostering either player, but would love to see Marvin Bagley figure something out. I'm never going to root actively root against a specific player.
Exactly.
But I'm just I'm zero interest in rostering him.
Yeah, I think with Bagley, his bigger issue is Alex Sarr more so than Cam Whitmore. I don't have the data in front of me. I don't think he and Sarr have been on the floor too much together this season. So I think that would be a bigger concern in terms of what would impact his minutes than what we've seen from Cam Whitmore thus far.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the quickest way to get that data up, but
I don't know. You can check cleaning the glass. See if they have any lineup data here.
Well, at least in their last game, they didn't spend any time together per popcorn machine. But I don't want to do that for every single game. So
yeah, because they only have him playing center in their data, and same with Sarr. So those two haven't been on the floor at all together. Let's see, Whitmore. Let's pull him up though.
Yeah, it looks like it's basically just been staggered minutes between Sarr and Bagley. So
yeah, because it's one or the other. Whitmore and Bagley have been on the court together for a grand total of 115 possessions, according to Cleaning Glass. So, yeah. Okay, Rich would like to know, Utah point guard with Collier returning, who should that be? And also, is Josh Minot for real? We just discussed Josh Minot, but that point guard situation is intriguing to me. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I did. I talked about it at some point. I don't remember what I was talking about, or if I was writing it or talking about it, but something about how this lineup is going to look like, because Keontae George has been playing really well, averaging 22.3 points, 9.3 assists. I think is kind of the big one,
Yep.
and shooting better than he has. Still not shooting great, like 42%, but that's a big step up from 39% the last 2 seasons. So it's going to be pretty difficult to bench Keontae George, especially for Collier, who the main, I think, appeal there was his ability to pass, and that he was passing and getting a lot more assists than Keontae George. But Collier's so limited as a scorer. Like, he just has not been able to score the ball effectively. Obviously, Keontae George can do that, and he's playmaking now. So I think Collier comes off the bench, and honestly, I'm curious how it looks, but with Walter Clayton Jr. also playing pretty well, how many minutes Collier gets, if they bring him along slow, wait for an injury or someone to stop playing super well. So I'm a little nervous about Collier.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, we've seen Clayton and George on the floor together at times, but they're both capable scorers. Collier's a bit different in that way. He's a better defender than either of them, but he doesn't really give you much as a scorer when asked to do that. He can set guys up for sure. Like you mentioned, Keontae's been better with the assists. He's got to get the turnovers down, averaging a little over 4 per game, but you're averaging over 9 assists. That's a solid ratio overall. So I think, if anything, Collier's probably going to be in that reserve role. You hold on to him in an IL spot if you can, just to see what that rotation looks like when he returns. But I don't know, not feeling too great about him. But hey, Keontae George has looked really good thus far. All right. How long can the other stats continue to prop up Alex Caruso's necrotic field goal percentage?
I think, honestly, just the fact, I don't expect him to continue to shoot 26.3% from the floor. So that'll improve. But really, in like Caruso, that's all he is going to provide, though, is steals. And like, you get a couple of things here and there, but you're streaming him in for steals. You're probably rostering him more so in deeper leagues than in standard, like a 12-team league, or way more so in category leagues than just points leagues. And it's somewhere where you're just needing the steals boost. Like, I don't know that he's like definitely a player that you roster for a full year. I mean, maybe I'm just off on that, but like, I don't have him in any of my teams, and I don't like, that's just part of it is just how deep this Thunder team is, that he's not playing a ton of minutes coming off the bench. Obviously, he's still one of the best defenders in the NBA, but from a fantasy basketball perspective, if he's not playing enough to get you, I mean, he's still playing enough to get 2 to 3 steals, but those are somewhat volatile. So if he plays 15, 20 minutes, just doesn't get the opportunity for a steal, like, not a great fantasy player.
Yeah, he's still top 100 right now, but like you mentioned, no Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams, no Isaiah Joe did return last night, scored 20 points off the bench. So now you've got him, you got Wiggins, you got Case and Wallace. They've got a lot of options, depending on what they may need on any given night. Caruso's still going to be in the rotation. He's not going to continue to shoot this poorly, but I do wonder what the ceiling is. I think he's kind of at it right now, to be honest with you. Okay. Yeah, I think we discussed this earlier about Kevin Porter Jr. I don't know if he'll get to 29, 30 minutes if he doesn't start. Maybe, 25, I would say. And then you kind of wonder what he'll be able to provide value-wise. He was good down the stretch last season in that role, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is just kind of, we're going to have to see, because it could be Gary Trent Jr. that gets pushed to the bench and Kevin Porter Jr. starts, and it's him and Ryan Rollins as the playmakers. I would think that Ryan Rollins would still get the benefit of the doubt as the primary playmaker, outside of Giannis, of course. But even if he comes off the bench, I think 25 minutes is probably a more realistic number. I mean, looking at just their last game against the Warriors, Cole Anthony played 21 minutes off the bench, and Amir Coffey played 13. Gary Harris played 4. So, like, I could see Cole Anthony losing out on some minutes and Coffey and Harris just being out of the rotation. But even then, that's probably about 25. Maybe you take a couple minutes. There's probably times where he plays up to 30 minutes. But if he's coming off the bench, it's probably closer to 25.
Yeah. I kind of think Trent would remain a starter just because he's a superior defender. But, that's pretty much the only thing I would have there in terms of who would start once Kevin Porter returns. But I think 25 you're looking at. If he comes off the bench, you're probably looking at about 25. I can even see that happening if he were to start just because of how well Ryan Rollins has played. AJ Green has been solid as well, and you're not going to take away too many minutes from those guys given how they've played. All right. Speaking of Ryan Rollins, are you keeping him even when Kevin Porter Jr. comes back? Feels like this is a pretty easy yes for both of us.
100%. Yeah, I mean, he's been way too good. If Doc Rivers, I hope Doc Rivers doesn't mess with this. Ride the hot hand, Doc, please.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if he has any inclination not to, Giannis would probably say, "You need to put him out there." Yeah, executive decision, but not really the executive. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan Poole of Bilal Coulibaly, rest of the season, 10-team head-to-head category league.
That's oof.
I like Bilal, man. I know Poole being moved to the bench really concerns me, especially when you see who he was moved to the bench for. Like, you're moving him to the bench for a lottery pick. This isn't just like some run-of-the-mill guard that they put in the lineup. So, man, I think I would go with Coulibaly. I know Poole can get hot offensively, but Coulibaly looked good last night, and he can get you defensive numbers too. So,
yeah, this is a tough one because it is definitely like Coulibaly comes back, plays one game, and it's a really good game, but he was pretty bad second half of last season. I hope that he keeps playing as well. He is a player that I really like, that I'm high on. So I would, at this point, lean Coulibaly, but this could just be looking at him at a high point, Jordan Poole at a low point. Because, man, things could change. Wouldn't shock me if Willie Green's like, there's already rumors floating around that his job could be up in the air. They are starting 0-4. They don't have their first round pick this year. It is kind of questionable to me that they did bench Jordan Poole, but the more questionable one is starting DeAndre Jordan over Yves Missi and the guy that they traded their first round pick to get, Derek Queen. Things could change for Jordan Poole. I'm not totally out on him, but it isn't looking very good right now. Rest of the season, I think, is what makes it tough. Short term, I think I prefer Coulibaly. I'll still lean him rest of the season, but it is definitely a conversation.
I like DeAndre Jordan, but this is absurd. I know this wasn't part of your question, Pens fan, but I just had to get that off my chest.
It's contradictory. We're gonna start Jeremiah Fears and make sure we get his developmental minutes, and we're gonna bench Jordan Poole, but we're gonna start DeAndre Jordan and bench the player that we just traded our first round pick to move up and get. And it's not that they don't think Derek Queen is a center and they think he's power forward, because when Zion was out the other night, he didn't start. So it is very confusing right now.
Yeah. Whatever, man.
Listen, man, the Hawks have their first round pick. I'm floating, Raph. This is great.
Yeah. All right. We had another question about Coulibaly in terms of his value moving forward, but we kind of just hit on that. So we're going to move on to a different topic. And going back to the Isaiah Collier question, does a slow start for Ace Bailey help secure Collier in a rotation? And also, does it make Svi Mykhailiuk an ad right now?
I don't think Svi's done enough as a starter to be worthy of an ad, and I also just don't feel like his starting spot is secure. Like, if they're going to change up the starting lineup, Svi's going to be the first one out. Ace Bailey will be brought along. Like, at some point, he will play a lot more than he has been. But I also don't think that he necessarily impacts Collier, just because Collier's looking for on-ball minutes. Bailey's getting off-ball minutes. So Collier's dependent on Keontae, George, and Walter Clayton. Ace Bailey, it's more Svi, it's Bryce Sensabaugh, it's Taylor Hendricks. Who's their fifth starter right now? It's Lori Kessler.
Filipowski.
Oh, yeah, Filipowski's starting. He even has an impact on Ace Bailey's minutes, I'd say, to an extent.
Yeah, Cody Williams. Well, Cody gave them good minutes the other night, but that's a reach. I'll admit that. But, no, seriously, the fourth quarter of that game, Cody Williams and Elijah Harkless gave them a spark. And then after the game, Will Hardy called out a few of the regulars. Like, they weren't ready to play tonight. So,
well, then I hope that Cody Williams gets minutes because he's a guy that I did like, and it looks really, really bad that I liked him.
Hey, a lot of us liked him coming into that draft, So, okay, Phil has been offered Cam Johnson and Rudy Gobert for Jalen Green in a 12-team head-to-head league. Are you taking it?
Yes. Category league, 1,000%, but points league, I still think I am. Maybe more of a thought about it in a points league, but category league, 100%. You disagree?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like, obviously, we don't know exactly when Jalen Green's going to be back. And it hasn't looked good for Cam or Rudy Gobert thus far. Cam's also dealing with a right shoulder injury. So that's kind of also clouding my judgment on this right now. I think I would be more in favor of the trade in a points league than category league, to be honest with you. But, yeah, this is a tough one. Is at surface level, I would probably make the trade. But I think Cam and Rudy are going to be better than what they've been. And I also don't know what Jalen Green is going to give me when he's available. So
you're giving up in this trade, giving up Jalen Green, right? Yeah.
No. Yeah, he is giving up. Okay.
So I prefer to have Cam Johnson.
So you'd rather have Cam since they're available? Okay. All right.
Well, since they're available, and also I'm not super high on Jalen Green. I've seen what he looks like in a high usage role. I don't need it to be in Phoenix versus Houston for me to be super optimistic.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
And I genuinely Cam Johnson's playing alongside Jokic. At some point, he's gonna figure things out and pick it up a little bit. It hasn't been great so far, though, for sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, back to the 12-team 10-cat offensive rebounds. I guess that's the 10th category, head-to-head.
Nice.
Bam, Kobe, and Josh Minott, or Dyson Daniels, Alex Sarr, and DeAndre Hunter.
Ooh. Forgive me, Dyson, but I got to go Bam, Kobe, and Josh Minott here, I think. Because, Kobe White, he's not healthy yet, but I think he's going to be really good. Bam's been fine to start the year, and I love Minott's upside. DeAndre Hunter's just not a great category league guy to me. And Dyson's been rough. I do think Dyson will start to figure things out. Obviously, Sarr's been playing really well, too. I think Dyson is going to kind of figure things out with Trae Young out of the lineup. Not to the point where he's going to be scoring a ton, but I think he'll be able to get a few more assists, which will help his value some.
Yeah, I would lean the first option purely because of Bam and Kobe. We'll see when Kobe is able to return, but we've seen him provide excellent value when healthy. So that's why I would go with him. I still have my doubts about Minott. Right now, he looks really good. So I think that would be an even more reason to make that move now. But rest of the season, I don't know. I kind of feel like he's going to tail off a bit. But having Bam and Kobe would be the reasons why I would go with them in this scenario. Okay. I think we already touched on this. Did Poole or Koulibaly rest the season 10 team?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yep. Cool. Someone else asked that. Sorry about that, guys. Would you take Ja Morant and Darius Garland for his James Harden? So it looks like we're trading Ja and Garland in order to get Harden.
I think format definitely matters here because I think category league, no. Points league, yes. I'd rather have Ja Morant and Darius Garland in a points league and a category league. I think I'd just rather have Harden. Maybe I don't. I think Darius Garland's going to be really, really good when he gets back. Ja's just, you know what? No, I'm going to change my answer. I'm going to take both Ja and Darius Garland over James Harden, regardless of format. I prefer them.
I can see that, and you get 2 starting point guards for one, so I definitely understand that aspect of it. My issue is that you kind of have to bake in Ja Morant having an extended absence at some point, and that would be my one question here. But I do think I would go with Morant and Garland. Besides that, all right, Bruno would like to know: would you trade Cade Cunningham if offered a 4-for-4 deal that includes Jamal Murray, Keyshawn George, Tyler Hero, and Onyeka Okongwu?
You get the Wendy's bag for it.
All right, let me see here. And then that's a different trade, so don't worry about that.
But okay, so you're getting Jamal Murray, Keyshawn George, Tyler Hero, and Onyeka Okongwu for Cade, and I'm assuming three other
people. Yeah.
End of the bench players. Ooh, I don't think so. I think if it's like, well, I guess here's where league size matters, or if you're rostering, if it's like a 10-team league where there's 120 players rostered, then no, I wouldn't. But if it's a 20-team league, then I might. So kind of depends there. I'm just going to assume this is like a 12-team league, and I'm going to say that. Well, now I'm. Maybe I would do that. And it's not because I'm trying to get rid of Cade and he's been bad or whatever. Like, I think he'll be fine. But Keyshawn George has been awesome. Tyler Hero will be really good when he gets back. Okongwu's playing well, and Jamal Murray's playing really well. And if you're giving up 3 players that you'd be fine to cut anyway, then I think maybe you do make this trade.
Yeah, I would make the trade. I think there's enough value coming back to where you can compensate for what you would lose in trading Cade. So obviously there's also the fact of what other 3 players would be involved, but I think this is a spot where I would probably make this deal. Okay, and he's got another question. He was also offered Jarris Walker and Peyton Pritchard for Tumani Kamara and Ryan Kalkbrenner.
I think I take that deal.
You would?
I'm taking Jarris because he's starting. I would take that, and then Peyton. Honestly, Peyton Pritchard's holding me back more than Jarris Walker is.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it personally because I think not that Indiana's front court is very good when everyone's healthy at this point, but I do wonder what his minutes are going to look like once, say, Obi Toppin gets back. That's the big one for me in terms of potential minutes and opportunities lost for Jarris Walker more than anything. But I think
Obi's going to be out over a month. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah. So short term, I can definitely see why this trade would be made. But Kalkbrenner, man, our man's looked really good this far. He's not shooting outside of 5 feet, but it's working. He's shooting about 91% from the field. So, but
what? Now I'm looking at it. He's played against. Let's see. He did fine against Nick Claxton. Last game was against the Magic, and that's Wendell Carter. And maybe Goga played a lot in that game against the Heat. Not Khalil Ware's no undersized. This is pretty. I feel like this is pretty even. Gosh, I think if Pritchard was having the season that we were kind of hoping that he would have or expecting him to have, then this wouldn't be probably offered at all. But he has been a little better the last couple of games. Yeah, I still think I'm taking this. I like the upside of Walker. I think that I've liked him since he was entering the draft. I think he's going to play well enough to be able to maintain that role even when this team is getting healthier, if they ever get healthier, because goodness gracious, they can't stay healthy. And then Peyton Pritchard, I still think has a ton of upside to figure things out a little bit more. I think Tumani is an incredible defender and a really good player. I just don't think that's always exemplified in his fantasy production. And then Kalkbrenner, I think it probably won't take a lot for a team to eventually just kind of figure out, hey, he really isn't doing anything outside of the restricted area. Like, I think we can scheme something up to make sure this guy doesn't shoot 90% from the floor.
I mean, the law of averages, he's going to miss a few shots eventually, but he
Just
clearly
place the
knows
ball on
what.
the rim, then.
Yeah, he clearly knows where he should be taking shots right now, and his defense has been good too in terms of the raw play and also the numbers. So, man, that's definitely an even trade that I would have to think long and hard about before making a decision. Kyle wants to know if Jared Allen's fractured finger caused him to miss time. Should we expect anyone to step in and be an ad?
Let's see. Pulling up just.
I'm going to say no. Like, I would assume that Dean Wade would probably be the replacement. And I don't know if he's going to give you enough to merit being an ad. Especially if you're in a league where we've seen a lot of guys jump up as waiver additions this first week plus. I think you can get better value on other teams than looking to stream a Cavalier.
Yeah, I agree. It's not going to be that somebody steps up and is worth a stream, like whether it's Dean Wade or maybe Larry Nance Jr. They're going to play more minutes, but I'm excited to see what Evan Mobley looks like if Jared Allen does miss time.
Yeah. I think we may have talked about this on Tuesday, but we might as well talk about it again after you get that game winner against Minnesota.
Yeah, and your hypothetical trade where you would move Trae Young for him would have worked out pretty well for you, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, you don't want to, obviously you don't want to see anybody get hurt, but
no.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Austin Reeves, you're probably aiming for either a player with first or second round expectations, late first and then into the second round, I would say. Let's pull up the rankings and see. We'll check some ADPs and see. Put it like that. Let me throw one out for you here.
Cool, let's do it.
That one's unrealistic. Oh, man. How about James Harden? Let's probably hold on to Harden, I think.
I don't know. I might take Reeves, and he was really good when he was playing next to Luka, obviously unleashed when Luka was out, who's, by the way, Luka's now probable for tonight, so the Austin Reeves 50-point run's probably behind him, but he was averaging 25 with assists, doing it efficiently before that. So I think I would take Austin Reeves over James Harden. And when LeBron's back, I don't think that that's going to impact Austin Reeves a ton. He was really good down the stretch of last season, and LeBron is going to be turning 41 here shortly. Like, when LeBron's back, why would he just step in and say, no, Austin Reeves, you give me the ball. I don't care how well you're playing. Like, I think, especially in the regular season, like, I think LeBron's made it more and more clear every single season that the playoffs it just matters so much more to him.
Yeah.
So I think I'd prefer Austin Reeves over James Harden, which is kind of crazy to think. Would not have said that 2 weeks ago at this time. So crazy.
Okay. What happens to Castle, Vassell, Champagny, Barnes, and Keldon once Fox and the trio of backup bigs return from injury? I think the first two will be fine, personally, in terms of fantasy value. They'll probably be about what you expect them to be. The other guys are definitely going to be in the rotation. So, but yeah.
Yeah. I think the starting lineup, I think, is kind of when we establish that, figure out exactly what it's going to be. So I assume when Fox is healthy, it's Fox, Castle, Vassell, Barnes, Wemby. So Champagny takes a hit. Keldon Johnson probably is going to take a hit, but he's not a guy that you probably were rostering anyway. Sohan coming back would limit his minutes a little bit as well. Same thing for Champagny. Luke Cornett and Kelly Olynyk, they'll just fill out the backup center minutes, maybe spend some time playing alongside Wemby, but nothing consistent enough. I think honestly, probably the only true fantasy impact here is that Castle spends less time on the ball and his production goes down. And I think part of that's going to be the return of Fox, and part of that is going to be Dylan Harper's really freaking good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. That might actually boost Castle's value in category leagues. He's averaging 5.2 turnovers per game. So maybe a little less time on the ball. Now, there is a 10 turnover game mixed in there, but still, I think last night was the first game he had fewer than 5 turnovers in a game this season. And he had
progress.
2. Hey, get it how you live. But, I don't know. I think his efficiency can improve with Fox back on the floor just because he's shooting over 50% from the field right now. Not shooting it well from the foul line either, about 59%. But I think Fox can help him. How much that pushes Castle up the rankings, I'm not sure. Probably not too much, but certainly can't hurt if you're averaging that many turnovers per night. So. All right. Thoughts on Scoot Henderson's production when he returns? Obviously, Drew Holiday's playing really well right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough because this isn't a Portland team that's rebuilding. It's a Portland team that's trying to make playoffs, and if Drew's playing better, then really doesn't matter. I still think Scoot plays a role off the bench, but it's probably the timing of the injury is really unfortunate because he would have gotten an opportunity beginning of the season, but now Drew Holiday's playing this well. They're trying to make playoffs. Scoot could be sitting around 20 minutes per game, but if he's not playing well, those minutes will go down. If he's playing well, I think they go up, but it's going to be really hard to predict, and it could be pretty volatile early on.
Yeah, I think Blake Wesley's the one who's going to miss out on minutes more so than Drew. Blake's averaging about 18 per game right now. I don't know if he'll fall completely out of the rotation once Scoot is healthy, but this is this is a spot where Scoot, he's going to have a hard time getting the role that we thought he was going to get before the season started. And that's just how well Drew has played. And like Noah said, they want to be competitive this year. Play in, maybe, I don't know about top 6, but if you get into the play-in for that group, that would represent a step in the right direction. And I don't think they're going to make a move that would jeopardize that personally. Okay. Our shot is punting blocks in a 12-team league. Which side is better, Siakam and AJ Mitchell or Garland and Malik Monk?
I think I go Siakam and AJ Mitchell.
Yeah.
I feel like AJ Mitchell's played well enough that he's going to continue to play when this team's healthy. Siakam could be a shutdown risk. That's now scaring me a little bit. I know they're only played 4 games in. Oh, I just don't trust the Sacramento rotation enough to feel confident that Malik Monk's going to produce consistently. And I think Darius Garland's going to be really good. That's not really the question here for me.
I think I'd lean Siakam and Monk and Mitchell as well.
Yeah,
I think that perimeter situation in Sacramento is just way too volatile for my liking right now, and that's with Nick Clifford out. He's not a guard, but Keegan Murray being out as well. Like, if you're in a position where you're starting Russell Westbrook, good for him, but that just seems really bad at this point.
Yeah. That's I'm not going to add it anymore on the Kings, but I still think I'll go Siakam and AJ Mitchell, but maybe it is something where you're just kind of keeping an eye out.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the Pacers are an 0-4 team. Like, they're better than that. Obviously, the injuries have just destroyed them. But I could see maybe Siakam is someone that you can trade for, use for a little bit, and then eventually trade again. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Are you holding on to Reed Shepherd with all these waiver wire gems popping up?
I don't think you have to. I think that if there's one of these guys that we've talked about, he's been fine. I think a lot of people were expecting, and I was expecting him to be used more consistently with Fred VanVleet out, but it also makes sense that it hasn't been consistent. So yeah, I'd be fine dropping him to look elsewhere.
Yeah. He's only shooting 35% from the field. I think he's clearly a better player than that, but they just got so many other guys who can make plays on the ball that, yeah, I probably wouldn't hold on to him right now, to be honest with you. And then once we hit December 15th and most of the league is eligible to be traded, I do wonder if Houston's going to take that disabled player exemption they got from the Fred VanVleet injury and try to use that to make a move at the point. So that's something else to consider down the line. But right now, I think, yeah, I'd probably move on, see if I can get someone who's hot and sitting on the waiver wire right now. All right. Chad would like for us to rank these players from sell now to don't sell in Dynasty. Kalkbrenner, Cason Wallace, Michael Porter Jr., Josh Minott, Ron Holland, and Day'Ron Sharpe.
Okay. From sell now to don't sell. Probably the most sell now to me is Michael Porter Jr. I guess it depends on team direction, though.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to win, then he's more helpful.
Yeah.
How about we do this? I'm not really interested in trading Josh Minott, Cason Wallace, or Ron Holland. I think if I were to just rank them from a dynasty perspective, it would be, and then you can decide whether that's somebody you want to sell or not sell based on how I'm ranking them. Gosh, it would still probably be Cason Wallace, then Ron Holland, then maybe a tier break or something. Then Michael Porter Jr., Josh Minott, Day'Ron Sharpe's last, respectfully. Yeah. Just feel like I needed a definitive one there. I don't think that too many of these guys are like sell highs unless you're selling Michael Porter Jr. to a win now team and you're getting really good value out of it. But I think like Minott has so much upside. Ron Holland has so much upside. I think Cason Wallace is really, really good already, and he may be in a better situation. He's more productive. Day'Ron Sharpe still has some upside. I just don't think you're getting too much value from a trade there. And Kalkbrenner is like, that's who he is, but I don't think there's a ton of upside there. So maybe he would be fifth if I was ranking these players from Dynasty, and then MPJ and Josh Minott. Maybe I'd take Minott over MPJ unless you're just like fully win now. But even then, Minott, I think, is going to be good rest of the season. It's a tough question, Chad. I can't believe you asked me this.
Yeah. I think Day'Ron's the one I would move immediately just because I don't know what you're going to be able to get value-wise later in the season. So he's the one I would move first. After that, okay, after that, it would be Minott, then Porter, then Kalkbrenner, then Wallace, and then Holland. So Holland would be the one that I would hold on to. Bit of a logjam in Detroit, but I think his potential is such that he would be the one that I would look to hold on to for the long term. But, yeah, that is a tough question. So,
it's loaded.
Yeah. All right, Daniel asked about Bub Carrington. Now that he's lost his starting job, is he a 14-team dynasty drop, or is there still hope down the road?
I don't think you're dropping him in the dynasty league.
And 9-cat head-to-head, just to be clear. But.
And I think the factor here is how many players are being rostered, because pretty typically you're looking at 250 to 300 players rostered at least in the dynasty league. Now, if you're playing in a shallower league with 200 or fewer players rostered, then maybe it's a little bit more of a conversation, but I still think that there's enough upside here. And I don't think him just getting benched for one game is enough to make a dynasty decision out of, because he could be bumped back in a couple games. Like CJ McCollum's starting right now. That's not going to remain forever. Now, do I think that Trey Johnson being there impacts that as well? Like, sure. I think Bub is not a player that you're dropping just a few games into his second season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. see. Next question. Based on the info, how long do you think Trey is out? I honestly don't know. Looking at the schedule after today at Indiana, they finished their road trip in Cleveland on Sunday. Kind of wonder if they're going to wait until he's had the MRI, but maybe wait until they get back home to figure out next steps after that. But I don't really know. It didn't look like a great injury. Good news is that there was no ACL issue, given what happened. But yeah, I can't tell you exactly how long. I think if anything, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is probably going to be the one that you'll be looking to target on waiver wires right now. And just kind of go from there, I guess. But you're the Hawks fan. You tell us.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep up with this as much as I can. It'd be unfair for us to speculate on a timeline here just because there isn't any information that could indicate anything other than, from what I remember, he was supposed to get an MRI like that night or the next day, and they haven't said anything yet, which does have me a little bit like freaked out, like, oh gosh, why haven't they said anything yet? But it could have been that he just ended up getting it later than what they reported, or like, I don't know, could be something like that. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible, terrible news. And it's not an ACL, which is a positive update. I would assume it's at least a multi-week absence, but there's like, who knows? Because I don't.
All right. Is Jovic not going to play real minutes with the Heat? Dynasty League, so don't need him this year, but thought he would at least look improved. Go ahead.
I thought so too. I thought he would look better that last game, especially very disappointing to see him only get a small amount of minutes. We'll have to, it does. Eric Spoelstra's going to keep shifting around his rotations. Like, he hasn't been terrible about it this year, but he already has made some adjustments. I assume that'll continue from time to time, but yeah, I've been pretty disappointed as well. He was a player that I had pinned as a sleeper in redraft and dynasty leagues heading into this season, and it just hasn't really panned out quite yet. But it's a long season; he has time to figure things out.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull up his deal right now because he signed an extension during the preseason, and that is a deal 4 years, $62.4 million. He's going to play. Like, I know you can't really guarantee that because they gave Duncan Robinson a massive deal, in the past, and then his minutes kind of fluctuated. But don't make any rash decisions with him, especially in the dynasty league. He's coming off of a hip injury that probably factored into him only playing 10 minutes last night. So,
that's a good point.
Single redraft league, I'd be a little bit concerned, but dynasty, I think I'd hang in there with Jovic. All right. Speaking of Trae Young, is Luke Kennard worth a pickup? Played well last game, but otherwise not so much.
I mean, probably depends on your league format a little bit. Like you said, he did play well in the last game, but he hasn't really been great. Like, he is a guy that can shoot. He just doesn't take as many shots as they probably want him to. So I don't know. Maybe he's worth taking a chance on in a deeper league, but in a pretty standard league, I don't know if I would.
Yeah, I think I would much rather have Alexander Walker if he's available.
Sure.
And then, I don't know, I think you're kind of looking to see how that wing rotation shakes out, because maybe one of those guys has the ball in their hands a little bit more. Can't remember who suggested this, but I saw it on Blue Sky last night. It may have been Brad Rowland, if anything. Maybe them just going big, start Nickeil and then start a Kongwu with Porzingis, or just go with one of the bigger wings like a Muhammad Gay, as opposed to going with one of those guards. Kennard probably still factor into the rotation either way, but probably less Keaton Wallace, if anything, or Vic Krejci as well. So I don't know. Yeah,
that would be an interesting one. Like, would it be not Nickeil Alexander-Walker? It would just be a Kongwu moving into the starting lineup, and it would be Dyson, Reese Shea, Jalen Johnson, Kongwu, Porzingis. Like, that would be an interesting lineup.
Yeah,
but I really want to see Nickeil and Dyson starting next to each other, seeing just how much like chaos they can create on
No,
defense. Like
that would be
that would
fun
be
as long
terrible.
as they aren't playing against the Knicks. But
Fair.
Okay, we discussed Bilal a bit earlier, but we'll just bring him up. Is he a sell high, or can he be close to this good on a consistent basis?
I think you could be excited about him for the rest of the season and also recognize that he probably is a sell high, because I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate that consistently, but I still think he can be like pretty good the rest of the season. But if he comes back, does that in his first game, and someone really overreacts, like, oh my gosh, like this is the guy I got to trade for him. I got to trade for him. Like you can get a good deal off that. Then yeah, I think you can sell high, but it also would be the worst thing to keep holding on to him, because I think he is be pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely sell high if you find someone willing to buy into the 1 game sample size. But yeah, I have high hopes for Bilal. I don't know if he'll be as good as he was last night, but I think he'll still provide solid value the rest of the season. Kyle has a quick trade story for Noah. Prior to last season, I traded Austin Reeves for a first-round pick that turned into Rob Dillingham. Have a good weekend, fellas.
Yikes.
Hey, pour one out for you, man. That's tough. All right. Ryan Dunn or Ron Holland, who has the most upside?
Ron Holland has a lot more upside. I really like Ryan Dunn, but maybe I won't say a lot more. Ron Holland has more upside. Ryan Dunn has upside, not as much as Ron Holland.
Yeah. Okay, let's just a couple minutes remaining, so we're going to go through these pretty quickly here. Is Isaiah Collier an add in 12 team?
I don't think he has to be.
Yeah, I say no. It obviously depends on your point guard situation overall, but I don't think he's a must add at this point in 12 team. Or as he has, but
I would say that I think he will get it going. Like Shane Sharp would just fine. The ADP of 87.4 on Yahoo does feel kind of early with what we've seen, but I think he'll be fine. Maybe in the end of the day, it will be that he did go a little early, but he will get it going. He'll be fine.
Agree. All right. Alsar Thompson is available, and Rudy Gobert is my worst player. Should I drop Rudy to pick him up?
It's got to be like a 4-6 team league or something like that. Yeah, but yeah, I'd rather have a Sar than Rudy Gobert.
Yep. Okay, 9-Cat, Bradley Beal, or Cedric Howard?
I was thinking Colin Coward again. I'll take Cedric Howard pretty easily.
Yep. Okay. Is AJ Mitchell worth picking up with Jalen Williams coming back soon? I think he is.
I think he is. I think he's been way too good. Like he's gonna have to prove to me that he's not gonna keep playing like that for me to not want to roster him.
Okay, let's see. Is Derek Queen lost in the fold, and do I drop him?
Somebody's got to remind Willie Green about him. But yeah, I don't think I'd be holding him in a pretty standard redraft league. Dynasty, obviously, you keep him. Deeper leagues, sure, just for the upside. But yeah, he hasn't really gotten as much of a chance as they probably should have based on other decisions they've made.
Okay, just to clear something up in that Alsar versus Gobert question. 10-teamer and someone dropped Alsar, so go ahead and make that move, man.
Yeah. And take that as a compliment, because that's a very impressive team in a 10-team league. For Rudy Gobert is your worst player.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, someone offered Kawhi Leonard and Jakob Poeltl for his LeBron and Isaiah Hartenstein. Would you accept?
That feels like a pretty even deal in the sense that I prefer Kawhi over LeBron, but I prefer Hartenstein over Poeltl. If you can afford to wait on LeBron, then I think maybe I would lean that side of the deal. So I guess that would be not taking this trade.
Yeah. I would not take that trade either. Okay, let's see. Last one. Colin Murray-Boyles or Dylan Harper?
I got to go Colin Murray-Boyles. I think Dylan Harper is also really, really – like short term for this season.
Yeah.
I think De'Aaron Fox coming back, like Dylan Harper's still going to play a good bit, but I think Colin Murray Boyles is going to have a more consistent role or more consistent opportunity because Dylan Harper is going to be competing with Castle as well as Fox. So I feel pretty good about CMB.
Yeah. In a redraft league, take Murray Boyles. Dynasty, I'll take Dylan Harper.
100%.
All right. And it is 3 p.m. Eastern, noon on the West Coast. So that means our time is up. Thank you guys, as always, for sending in questions. Noah, thank you for taking the time to answer them with me, and hope you guys have a great weekend.
Happy Halloween.